Station, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is the fastest growing talk radio station in Southern California. Home to 50,000 watts and an audience reach of 12 million listeners. KBLA Talk 1580 is a pioneer for Black audio content, including our groundbreaking $2 million climate justice campaign and the most loyal, influential audience. According to an independent research study by the polling firm Aviterus, for the second consecutive year, KBLA Talk 1580 is the most trustworthy, reliable, and credible news source for Black audiences and beyond in Southern California. Let KBLA Talk 1580 power your advertising dollars. Our omni-channel custom marketing solutions are specifically tailored to connect with your ideal target audience. We leverage audio, podcasts, streaming, digital, social media, and local activations to get your message out to the Black community. Get in touch with our advertising team today at advertising@KBLA1580.com. That's advertising at KBLA1580.com. KBLA 1580. We've got you Black. I see dead people.
Mother on that beat.
Aye, Mustard on the beat. Debo, any rap. He a freak throw, man down. Call her Amber Lambs, tell him breathe, bro. Nella to the cross, he walk around like Tizo. What's up with these jabroni, yeah? Trying to see Compton. The industry can hate me. Marlon, they mama, how many options you really got? I mean, it's too many options. I'm finna pass on this body, I'm John Stockton. Beat your and hide the Bible if God watching. Sometimes you gotta pop out and show. Certified boogeyman, I'm the one that up to score with him. Walk him down whole time, I know he got some him. Pull on him, extort, bully the flow on him. Say Drake, I hear you like I'm young. You better not ever go to cell block 1. To any that talk to him and they in love, just make sure you hide your little sister from him. They tell me Chubb's the only one that get your hand-me-downs. And party at the party playing with his nose now. And Baca got a weird case, why is he around? Certified lover boy, certified pedophiles. Wop, 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 that come up. Wop, 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 I'ma do my stuff. Why you trolling like a ain't you tired? Trying to strike a chord and it's probably A minor.
KBLA Talk 1580. Yep. Sometimes.
They not like us. They not like us.
It's
they
a celebration,
like
okay? It's a celebration.
Like
All right, so we are welcoming into the conversation Professor James Lance Taylor. He's an author. He's a professor at USF, the University of San Francisco, author of the book Black Nationalism in the United States from Malcolm X to Barack Obama. And he's former president of the National Conference of Black Political Scientists. Dr. Taylor, welcome.
Thank you for having me back, Dominique. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate you as well. So much going on. I hardly know where to start. I don't know that you have thoughts on rap beef, but apparently it's officially over, at least as far as Kendrick and speaking of politics, it's rap politics, hip-hop politics. And some folks have accused me of being a hypocrite because I, constantly support Tupac. And I criticized, the Tupac Biggie feud back in the day. But this, to me, is invigorating to the industry. It's invigorating to creativity. It celebrates the West Coast. It's forcing rappers out of retirement and making them write great rhymes. Yeah. I think it's, I'm not going to lie. They not like us all day. But I guess right. Drake said he's done with it, and Top Dog has indicated, right, Miles, that they're done with this cycle.
Yeah, they should have been done. So I'm glad they're done with it. I'm all for more music if it happens, but it's over
just taking the W here. Your thoughts, Dr. Taylor?
Well, I think we have to be clear on this. Stevie Wonder called it a distraction, and I don't quite agree because I think we can do many things at once. I think we can do politics, art, economics, culture all at once. We don't have to do one or the other. But at the same time, when you look at, the way they've gone back and forth, even with Chris Brown and Quavo and all of this, of course, our young people and young people in general, in terms of art production, is, I take pride as a Black man every day when I wake up, knowing that somewhere in Baltimore or Compton or Gary, Indiana, some group of black kids are standing around and they start moving, and next thing you know, everybody's doing it. And next thing you know, there's all of this performance, right? And there's a lot that happens in the process of art and art creativity. And I know, we all know you have a long history in hip hop. But I think we have to keep in mind last year, nobody in hip hop made the top 200 Billboard albums, and no solo made the top 100. And as of yesterday, Kendrick Lamar finally became one of the rapper this year to make the top Billboard
number
100.
one, baby. Yeah, I mean, it's
there's a money motive. There's a money motive, and I don't think hip hop could afford to have 2 or 3 bad years in a row at this point at the age of 50, because it could easily go away and evolve into some new form like jazz and blues that, again, young people might create, but that would put to rest what we claim to be hip hop still. So I think, again, we have to understand the industry put these rappers up to this. Somebody said you all need to go at it because your whole industry is going down.
I don't know. I don't agree with that, Dr. Taylor. I'm sure I know the industry is profiting. I see them slobbering and salivating as the money rolls in. But I don't think that I really still feel that even for all the commercialization, the glory of hip hop is driven by the creativity of the young people that are making it.
Uh-oh.
Oh, can't hear me? Dr.
No, I hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I heard an uh-oh, so I didn't know if we dropped or not. But yeah, I mean, one could argue both ways on that. I don't like taking all of the creative credit and giving it to these conglomerates that profit off of it. Only Kendrick Lamar can get us turned up like that, or whoever's doing it. I mean, and you're right, it's spreading. Chris Brown kind of came hard with that track, and some people say too hard and blah blah blah. Now even Shaquille O'Neal dropped a diss track dissing Shannon Sharp, which I think is hella funny.
Right.
Even Taylor Swift has a diss track right now. Like, right, what?
Cat Williams set the tone, for the year of truth-telling. and people are everywhere telling the truth as far as they understand it. So this is a moment of clarity for a lot of people.
Yeah, well, and then and then who makes an instrumental diss track for others to rap over? That was a stroke of genius by Metro Boomin, which, I mean, that's...
I can't go over that. That BBL Drizzy is all over the planet, in Japan, in Korea, in China.
BBL Drizzy. I mean, it's catchy. You must admit it's catchy.
Wow.
Anyway, I didn't mean to start off there, but it's the music.
No, but I think it's important. I think we need to understand. One of the things I loved about Harold Cruz as an intellectual, he's one of your father's contemporaries, was that he understood the importance of the art front. He would call it the economic front, the political front, the cultural front. And he said these three in a triangle are constantly moving in every location wherever we are as Black people. Sometimes, let's say in LA, it might be the cultural front. Let's say Chicago, it might be the economic front. Let's say Miami, it might be the political front at a given time. But we as thinkers and leaders or organizers have to know that, the times that we're living in, so that we could try to negotiate them from an informed perspective rather than just going forward in darkness without, a clear reading of the times in which we live. And so when you compare where we are now in terms of national politics and international politics, if you look at the era of Reconstruction after the war, there was this moment of possibility in America where it could have gone Reconstruction and what Du Bois called racial democracy, or we could go to Jim Crow. And the country chose Jim Crow. And for 70 plus years, that was the outcome of the failure of Reconstruction. And I think that's where we are right now. I think we're at the precipice, the crossroads of going, back to comfortable open racial hostility in the form of Jim Crow. I think we're one law case, one ruling from the Supreme Court going back to Jim Crow segregation. Now, I might sound foolish.
No, I mean, I don't think so. I think it sounds logical. Yeah, I think it sounds logical. I mean, I hate to say that, but I think it sounds logical. We were just talking last hour about this case in Baton Rouge, right, where there is a group of rich white people that have now seceded from Baton Rouge and created their own city, which is going to be called St. George. It's a micro It's a micro example of what's happening in many ways across the country. But what they're saying, we're going to take our tax dollars, we're going to take our tax base and our amenities, and we're taking them away from you in the greater, predominantly black Baton Rouge area. And people are calling that, neo-segregation. I mean, right. So how do you read that? I mean, and what are the implications from a political science standpoint, other than, they don't want to be with us? What does it mean politically?
Yeah, the town Jefferson, the one that, at the borders of Oregon and California, was set up that way as an all-white reserve. The town Paradise that burned down completely, it was set up as a white paradise. What we're describing is San Fernando Valley in relationship to LA. They've been trying to break off since the early 90s and trying to create 3 Californias for the last 100 years of Northern, Central, and Southern California. Look at what they're doing in Jackson, Mississippi, where they created a court to oversee and rule over the black government of Jackson. And then, you look at what happened in Arizona. Again, they went to an 1864 law to apply to abortion rights. So they're not playing. They're back in they're in the 19th century. And Amy Coney Barrett, when she was up for consideration, refused to answer the basic question of whether Brown v. Board is settled law. Now that's political science 101 or law or constitutional law 101, and you should have an answer for it. But this woman refused to answer that basic question.
Meaning that she thinks schools should be segregated.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or she's not opposed. She doesn't think a priori that already it's a settled question. And that's the point. It should be settled law. For her, it's not settled law.
And to be fair, they said Roe v. Wade was settled law, and they overturned that. So if she's not even willing to say it's settled law and lie about it, that tells you that's a really great point. It tells you where we are.
And when I'm talking about 17, 18, and 19, 20-year-old students, and talking about retrenchment and backward, going backward, they look at me like, okay, yeah, right. We're really going to go back to segregation. Sure, and it's like, are you not paying attention? Are you not looking at the moment in which we're living in where, I don't want to sit here and enumerate all of Trump's shortcomings or Biden's. I'm just not interested in that. But, the very idea that we're at the point where, you have a man saying openly on a microphone, you should choose the white president over the black president. And that, didn't resound. In my view, as a student of American political history, I see a tendency in the white population in general to always work out their differences to make sure that they stay on top. And they did that with Reconstruction. They did that with Southern Redemption. They did that with the busing. They made sure, no matter what the conflicts are, even 400,000, 600,000 people being killed in 4 years in the Civil War, after that bloody Civil War, North and South reconcile at our expense, and we end up on the back of the bus. And I think that's what we are, again, on the verge where the party we are affiliated with, the Democrats, basically take us for granted and abandon us. And that's what Republicans did after Lincoln. They abandoned us for the next 70 years. So
okay, you know what, and we have to talk about this, as we come forward. But, I want to go a little deeper and into what you've said about Democrats abandoning us, because I'm hearing that a lot, and I know they're not doing everything we would like them to do. But to me, I'd have to say I wouldn't know that I agree with abandonment. I feel like there's things that are being done and getting done that are just not registering with us. And I got a letter, maybe I'll share part of it with you, Dr. Taylor, from a longtime listener of mine that reflects some of exactly what you're saying, that feeling. And it worries me because I feel like we are not objectively assessing where we are right now, just months away from a presidential election. I won't call it the biggest, the best, the most important, most crucial, or any of those, but it is a presidential election, which could put in the new Confederate Donald J. Trump in the White House, because we're saying that Democrats have abandoned us, and I don't know that we're objectively. And I want to hear what your objective criteria is for saying that. Political scientist, professor, and author Dr. James Lance Taylor is my guest. I'm Dominique DiPrima, and this, of course, is KBLA Talk 1580.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
To help combat climate change, LADWP is helping neighborhoods have better access to electric vehicles by awarding nearly $130 million in EV rebates to customers just like you. From big savings on used EVs to building new charging plazas, LADWP is charging ahead to help all Angelenos experience the benefits of EVs. Get rebates of up to $4,000 for a used EV and $1,750 for a charger. Learn more at ladwp.com/EV. That's ladwp.com/EV.
Hi, it's Tavis Smiley. First, thank you for your support of KBLA Talk 1580. We deeply appreciate you. So, I get asked all the time, Tavis, when are you going to bring back that State of the Black Union symposium you used to do? You know, the one where you had all those black intellectuals on stage every year and everybody watched all day live on C-SPAN? Yeah, I know the one.
Let's bring them back.
Well, I am pleased to tell you that if you go to KBLA1580.com right now, you can sign up to be in the audience here in Los Angeles when we go back live on C-SPAN with a stage full of black thinkers and influencers for a historic conversation. America has never seen a stage full of black folk talking about the urgency of now. Climate justice, climate equity, climate resilience. It's going down Tuesday, June 18th, 4 to 7 p.m. at the California Science Center in Exposition Park. Admission is free, but you must register at KBLA1580.com. Once we reach capacity, you'll have to watch us on C-SPAN. But if you want to be in the room when we go live from Los Angeles, Tuesday, June 18th, head to KBLA1580.com right now to reserve your seat. Caring about the climate, caring about the community. With KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
I believe up there. Hey!
I can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
And we're talking with Dr. James Lance Taylor. You're invited into the conversation, of course, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. I was reading about Roger Fortson, Dr. Taylor, and, you know, part of this article in the Washington Post, they point out that their database of fatal police shootings shows that 2023 had the highest number of police killings on record, and that Black Americans continue to be killed by police at more than twice the rate of white Americans. We have, you know, not seen meaningful police reform. We have not seen a vote protection bill. That said, you know, Dems don't control the Congress. They control one house, barely. And then I consistently hear this narrative close to what you said, which is that we've been abandoned by Democrats, but yet Joe Biden has made good on, you know, appointing a Supreme Court Justice, Ketanji Brown Jackson. He has made good on appointing over 240 judges. A huge percentage of those are Black. He has made good on the infrastructure project, which is going to disproportionately create good-paying jobs and disproportionately help infrastructure in places like Flint and Jackson, which are, you know, important to Black America and our quality of life. He tried to do student loan forgiveness, which he promised, and then the Republicans blocked it. And yet they've continued to try to go around the Republicans and find different ways to keep forgiving student loans. I mean, he has made good through the infrastructure program, not to the point I'd like to see, but certainly to a greater extent than we'll ever see under a Donald Trump or Republicans in the Green New Deal, which disproportionately, again, because of environmental racism, the climate justice piece is disproportionately important, not just for Black Americans, but for Black people worldwide. So I'm not happy about, the policy in Gaza towards Haitians, Cuba. I mean, there's tons of things we can complain about, but when you look at what Biden promised to Black America and what he's delivered, I just don't think abandonment is an accurate description.
Right. I think what you said in terms of the idea that it's not registering with us is a better way of explaining it, because it has not been felt. And there's something called the misery index when it comes to presidential elections. And they compare the inflation rate and unemployment rates and combine them. And even if things are good, people sometimes don't feel good, and they don't feel the effects of the policy. That's why I think, for example, when we're talking about abandonment, I wouldn't use abandonment because there is no equivalent between the Republicans and Democrats as far as Black policy preferences and policy positions and opinions are. There's no comparison, except maybe around religious ideas around, abortion or something like that.
Right. Socially conservative
the
ideas. Yeah.
Is Biden raised about 7 times more money than Trump did in 2020. And yet we can't see where Biden invested that money, those billions, in the Black infrastructure of media, of Twitter, of social media, of stations like KBLA, right? Other Black journalists around the country. Roland Martin's often, talking about this lack of investment from the Democrats. Anytime there's a presidential or off-year campaign, Black folks should get paid from the election itself, from the advertising, from the marketing, from the
so you're talking about campaign dollars, not budget,
right.
Not U.S. government budget dollars. And yeah, I mean, I agree with that. And actually, Republicans too, since they claim they want the Black vote, where are the Black dollars? That's a long time beef of mine. But you were talking about the Democratic Party abandoning Black folks, and yeah, okay, come on, Biden, bring the KBLA dollars. I think bring the Roland Martin dollars or whatever. I agree with that,
right.
And not just that. I think they should go a step further and start investing in, helping Black people, underrepresented folks gain media outlets. We only have 5 Black-owned talk radio stations in the entire nation. There are thousands of right-wing right stations shaping the narrative every single day. You would think it would be in their best interest to subsidize us getting more media outlets and making the ones that we have work. I think they ought to pass a bill forcing every big tech company to pay into a kitty that subsidizes the print media. So because they're using their intellectual property to make profits. So, but that's a whole other conversation. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, though, while we're there.
I mean, if Biden said the word reparations,
Hello.
It would be over.
It would be over. He could go a step further. He should do H.R. 40 by executive order.
Exactly.
I mean, that to me, now what? If you did that, now what? Now, I mean, as far as getting the Black vote, what can Trump do other than...
Black people would hear reparations like they've never heard anything before.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I've said this in local media here. Whichever of these two men, and again, we could talk about their racism and their racist histories. I think they're equally racist. But a racist can be used.
What? No, that is ludicrous, Dr. Taylor. They're equally racist. Okay, we can talk about that more later because I want to let you finish your point. But I roll.
LBJ is a Southern segregationist who is not comfortable with Black folk in Texas in the 60s. But the moment, the times, the conditions, the era, the zeitgeist forced him into a political position
and Dr. King, yeah, okay. I understand what you're saying, but to me, that's a talking point. That is a talking point that a lot of Black men are saying right now that allows them to justify voting for DJT. Oh, they're both equally racist. Or they say Biden is more racist. And that is bull crap. That is bull crap.
My reason,
okay, go ahead.
My reasoning is we've always had to choose a lesser of two evils in every way politically.
I don't choose evil.
And, when it came to parties, when it came to Gibson in Newark, New Jersey, the balance of power strategy with Clarence Stone, those strategies, we've always tried to figure out how can we, in a two-party system, maximize and the impact of our vote in terms of being a swing vote or having some kind of balance of power impact. And again, part of our frustration politically has been that we have what they call in political science. If you took a government intro level class, when you get to chapter 10, it's going to be political parties, and it's going to say Tweedledee and Tweedledum. And it shows that these parties, basically the two corporate parties, reinforce each other in a powerful way that makes sure that nobody else can get on the ballot. I think Lenora Ferrani.
I understand all that. I get all that. And okay, in an ideal world, we have multi-parties. But you were talking about individual persons, and you said Trump and Biden are equally racist. There's just nothing to support that other than a constant talking point on social media. I'm not saying that Biden is perfect. I'm not saying he's not racist.
Racist statements from Biden.
Yeah, okay, but okay, racist statements. Let's look at actions though. Trump had to be repeated. Okay, and the 94 crime bill is terrible, and Biden and Clinton definitely owe black people reparation for that alone. But what you said, they're equally racist. I mean, let's talk about.
And I stand on that.
Okay, you stand on that, but let's look at the Supreme Court justices that have been appointed by both presidents as an example. Let's look at policies, not just what somebody said. Let's look at Biden's speech and his actions around apartheid at that point. But I think the Supreme Court is the best example. Those folks, those three justices that DJT has appointed are enacting policies that are negatively impacting black people. And that's what I'm talking about. You're going to tell me Ketanji Brown Jackson stacks up against Amy Coney Barrett, Brett Kavanaugh and company as being equally racist?
You're going to take us down another route, but I blame Amy Coney Barrett's presence on the Supreme Court on Ruth Bader Ginsburg's refusal to resign.
Well, okay, but she was Trump's pick. That shows Trump's mindset. If you want to talk about equally racist, I think that outward. Okay, but they were Trump's picks, and Trump's pick showed Trump's mindset, and Trump's mindset is way more racist than Biden. Ketanji Brown Jackson, Amy Coney Barrett. Professor, I rest my case. You can rebut after news, traffic, and sports on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Jury selection continues today in New York City in the corruption trial of New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez. Yesterday, dozens of potential jurors were dismissed, and by the end of the day, not one had been selected to sit in on the trial that could last up to 2 months. The Democratic lawmaker and his wife were accused of accepting cash, gold bars, and gifts in exchange for using the senator's political influence to help businessmen. Boston, Massachusetts Police Commissioner Michael Cox says the city will be extending its contract for ShotSpotter, the gunshot detection system. The African-American police commissioner says the technology saves lives, and it's an important part of how officers are deployed and crime is addressed. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Wendy's new Cinnabon Pull-Apart is here to satisfy morning cravings with its warm, sweet cinnamon sugar rolled dough, ooey-gooey texture, and signature cream cheese frosting. Get the best part in every bite this morning with Wendy's new Cinnabon Pull-Apart. Only at participating U.S. Wendy's.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
LeBron is still a popular guy in Cleveland. He and his wife Savannah attended Game 4 last night in Cleveland between the Cavs and Boston Celtics. LeBron and Savannah sat courtside during a time timeout, LeBron was shown on the video scoreboard, drawing a huge ovation from the sellout crowd at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. LeBron played 11 of his 21 NBA seasons in Cleveland. Still no word from LeBron on his future with the Lakers. He has until June 29 to decide if he wants to accept a $51.4 million player option and stay with the Lakers for another season. If LeBron declines the option, he can become a free agent and sign with the team of his choice. 3 of the 4 remaining NBA playoff series are tied at 2-2. Boston's win last night put the Celtics up 3-1 over Cleveland. Will Smith's 2-run double in the 10th was the game winner for the Dodgers in San Francisco. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
If your Medi-Cal is ending, Cover California is here to help. Cover California is a service from the state that helps you get affordable health insurance. In many cases, at no cost to you, just like with Medi-Cal. We have quality health plans, and we'll help you every step of the way to get the one that works for you and your family. So, if you're no longer eligible for Medi-Cal, check out Cover California. We'll keep you covered. Learn more at coveredca.com.
Hey, LA residents, it's planting season and the perfect time to get shade trees growing around your home. LADWP and City Plants are giving every resident up to 7 free trees. That's right, 7 free trees delivered right to your door. Trees are great for the environment, help improve air quality, and can help you save on your bill when you use less air conditioning to stay cool indoors. Learn more at ladwp.com/free trees. That's ladwp.com/free trees.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
So you just used bug spray in your home. Now what? Well, between the waiting and waiting for things to dry up and keeping your family away from the mess, it hits you. You could have used Zevo. Unlike other bug sprays that stick around, Zevo goes from kill to clean in seconds. Plus, it's safe for use around people and pets when used as directed. Zevo, people-friendly, bug-deadly.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be a sign that your digestive system isn't working at its best? Taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil fiber powders help promote your daily digestive health using a plant-based fiber called psyllium. The gelling action of this special fiber traps and removes waste so you can feel lighter and more energetic. Metamucil, promoting digestive health for a better you. Learn more at metamucil.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go: shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms: irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
You got a big mouth. Hello, Joe, you're up. Welcome.
We're unapologetically progressive, and we don't black down.
Oh, Dr. James Lance Taylor is our guest in the chat room. They're saying I'm arguing too much. That's what I do. This is talk radio, not happy hour, although I'd love to do a happy hour one day with Dr. James Lance Taylor. And, of course, I blame Miles for playing They Not Like Us and get me turned up over here. Get me turned up over here. But Dr. Taylor, your responses to what I was saying before the break about, your statement that Trump and Biden are equally racist.
No, I'm talking strategy. I'm talking strategic politics, not ideology. More strategy.
Right. Okay.
And what I'm suggesting is LBJ was an outright segregationist, but he had to respond to the times. And Biden, regardless of his past, has adequately responded to the times, from the COVID explosion to the 2020 police uprising. He's managed the crises that he's been confronted with, and every president has to be able to adapt to whatever happens to on their watch. They don't get to choose what they preside over. And so
President Pence, Kamala Harris.
Is that our politics,
just saying.
Biden has been very responsive. The Build Back Better plan, the Inflation Reduction Act, once they are felt, they will actually really transform some communities, I hope, in terms of infrastructure. Look, Pete Buttigieg has gone around America. And one of the things I teach in my urban politics classes is how racist the American infrastructure is. The freeways and the highways. If any of us have kids that used to watch the cartoon called Cars, with Radiator Springs and, Tomater and, the whole, the red car, the red Corvette, that whole town was killed off in the cartoon. But when they killed off Route 66 by placing a freeway through it, and it killed the economy. And that has been the policy of the United States urban developers since the 1940s. From Robert Moses in New York City to Justin Herman in San Francisco, down in LA, all of us in every major city, in Newark, New Jersey, where they built overpasses too low to make sure black women domestics who were going to work in the suburbs couldn't get through. That's how deep the evil is, even in the infrastructure. And Biden and in Gary, Indiana, for example, in the 60s, some racists took a bunch of cinder blocks and just closed the overpass that allowed Black Gary to go free flow back and forth into the next town. It stayed there for 50 years. Pete Buttigieg is knocking it down. Pete Buttigieg is knocking down a racist freeway in Buffalo, the Ryan Freeway in Chicago, the 105 in LA. All over America, Buttigieg is actually going in and trying to eradicate the racist infrastructure that was created to kill Black America economically, and it worked in terms of them choking us off in many cities around the country. So this is the kind of stuff that I think is a return on the Black vote. You do have a Black vice president, and you do have this man we're talking about, Biden, being the vice president of the first Black president, and the Black vote ushered in this whole era. So we're living in an era since 2007 where the Black vote has been the most dominant vote in America. And now the question is, for me, in Chicago, Black folk are calling for reparations. In San Francisco, we're calling for reparations. In Berkeley, reparations. Sacramento, reparations. Fayetteville, North Carolina, reparations. New York State, reparations. Los Angeles, reparations. And Biden and the Democrats, and the deep thing is, wherever we are calling for reparations, they have a Black Democrat in power, like London Breed. And I was on the San Francisco Reparations Committee. We recommended $5 million to everybody that was eligible in San Francisco. London Breed literally just killed our efforts.
And she's a Black woman mayor. I don't think that I've never been under the illusion that she was a progressive, but I wasn't expecting her to make that move. And saying she already had programs that were doing the same thing, which no. But to your point, there's a lot of people, and we talk about this on our Freedman Fridays, which happens every Friday, our second hour of the show, that there are a lot of Black folks, not just on Twitter, but other places too, who are reparationists that are aligned with the Republican Party, that are voting for Trump and supporting Trump. And they seem to believe that Trump can and will deliver reparations. But I find that hard to get my mind around, because so far all of the initiatives that you're talking about, San Francisco, California, there are dozens of cities now that have reparations commissions. There are 4 states, and all of these are led by Democrats. We haven't seen a Republican lead a successful reparations effort. From my understanding, it was Republican reparationists who killed the bill in Tennessee to preventively stop reparations. But we haven't seen any affirmative. Right. And so I'm trying to understand, what is it that makes these sincere reparationists, whether they be ADOS, FBA, whether they be, lineage or whatever walk of life that's supporting Trump, what is making them have any belief that Republicans will do this when they have not shown that? You talk about rising to the times. They always want to go to Lincoln, but I'm talking about right now when we're in the midst of this momentum.
Right. Because these people are getting paid. Yvette Carnell, who represents the Foundation of Black America and the American Descendants of Slaves before they split, she and Tariq Nasheed, who's based in L.A., this whole idea of ADOS, right? And they think being independent thinkers. This goes back to Kanye when he started just saying awful, vulgar things about our people and about our history and about people like Harriet Tubman. They think that being an independent thinker, means you are off the Democratic quote unquote plantation. And then somehow it leads you into a conservative position. And that to me doesn't make sense. If you're independent thinker, you're more like we were in the 70s as nationalists, for example, at that time, where we were neither, Republican or Democrat, and we were hostile to both parties. And Malcolm and your father and everyone else on the scene made clear that we should have as much of a reticence towards liberalism as we do toward the segregationists. So black politics has always tried to balance that white liberalism has different kinds of shortcomings than white, racial conservatism. And I would correct myself from my earlier statement when I said that Biden and Trump are equally racist. I would say this: they're differently racist. And that to me is in play in terms of American politics, that the Democrats, unfortunately, back in 2008, they did a poll on negative feelings towards Black Americans. The Republicans had negative feelings about 75%, but the Democrats had negative feelings towards Black Democrats in 2007. That was about 65%. And it was shocking that white Democrats were almost as negative in general towards Black people as the Republicans were. So again, we're in a situation of limited options because of the two-party system. The best thing we could do in terms of Black politics is what we tried to do at Gary. Gary, Indiana was the most important moment in Black politics apart from 1963 March on Washington and even the Million Man March. That was the critical moment where, we could have created a multi-party system, a multi-racial rainbow. I think we should have had a rainbow party in America that represents everything that the Black Democrats have given to the Democratic Party, because without Jesse, without your father, without the move in the 70s into the McGovern camp, the Democrats don't have the moral base they have. They don't have the spiritual base. They don't have the focus on human issues and humanitarian issues. We sensitized the Democratic Party, which used to be the most racist of the two, in a way that no other vote constituent group in America can claim. We took over the party that used to be hostile to us, chased the overt racists out into the old party of Lincoln, and basically we're the most important vote constituent group in America right now. And no other group in this country's history has been so nimble politically, where you can't point to another group who used to be Republicans for 100 years and have been Democrats for 70. But that the Black group has been determined to try to get freedom in America.
Interesting. I will say to that point about Democrats and their attitudes on Black people, Kathy Hochul, governor of New York notwithstanding, if you look at the polling on reparations, Democrats, white Democrats, are much more supportive of that than white Republicans, than Black Republicans for that matter. And so again, it's mysterious to me why a good chunk of us seem to think that we'll be more likely to get reparations under a GOP administration. If you look at the attitudes of voters, I still think it's a bit of a third rail, and I think that's why we probably won't see Biden signing an executive order around H.R. 40, or we won't, see Governor Newsom doing a happy dance about paying cash reparations. Agree or disagree that it's, people, white politicians, even Black politicians, look at this as a political liability to be seen as in support of reparations?
I think Democrats like London Breed and maybe Karen Bass, who represent a lot of different constituencies. Here, for example, in San Francisco, the Chinese community, organizationally, has not supported our efforts. Chinese individuals.
Well, don't throw Karen Bass in that basket. She's been very supportive of our Reparations Commission here.
Well, just
because London Breed, I'm privy to that. I talk to, I frequently interview the woman that's over that. Yeah, don't put them in the same basket just because y'all got a non-progressive mayor. We have a progressive black woman mayor, so y'all just need to get you another one. Don't come for our mayor. Don't come for our mayor.
But I do want to get back to ADOS and Foundational Black America and why they tend to move over to the conservative direction. You have to think about Kanye. When he went through that whole episode where he ends up talking about, being a free thinker, and yet he ends up with a Confederate outfit on and a Confederate hat and selling and wearing a White People Matter with Candace Owens walking into the Oval Office or some other office and sitting across from Trump. All of that was supposed to be Kanye's independent thinking moment. And
I thought it was a mental health crisis myself, but okay.
So-called free thinkers, why is it that so-called free thinkers in the black community end up becoming conservative? And that's something they have to ask themselves.
You're talking to a free thinker over here that ain't going that way. But so we've got some people in the chat talking about us. Okay, I can't even see. B. Bell once says, if they're equally racist, what are we voting for?
The same politics we've had is a politics of limited options. And it's our situation, it's women's situation, it's gay situation. As long as we have a two-party system, we're all going to be answering that question of what are we voting for? What's the difference? And again, the differences are substantial. In terms of, the bottom line.
Policy.
You can't look at anything Trump did that significantly outside of the One Step Act, police, in terms of prison reform that we can point to. And a few, people like the Detroit mayor were, given clemency. But nothing substantial can we point to, in terms of outcomes of Republican policy agenda. The Republican policy agenda has been organized around anti-blackness for the past 60 years. So there should be no confusion about that.
Okay, well, when we come forward, there's two things there's a million things I wanted to get your take on, but you and me, when we get to talking, we go. I do want to get your take on your thoughts on, we haven't talked at all about this, but I think it's interesting that when we come forward that the Duchess of Sussex, a.k.a. Meghan Markle of Leimert Park, and Prince Harry went to Nigeria, invited by the Nigerian military after she discovered through DNA testing that she's 43% Nigerian. The political implications of that, I think, are being not widely discussed, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. Dr. James Lance Taylor on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
This is DIR Silica. Spot title, Workers, 30-second English radio. ISKI code, DSE W0430. April 30th, 2024.
Workers in California cut and polish man-made stone for countertops, showers, and more. Without proper protections, workers breathe in harmful dust from the artificial stone material, which puts them at risk of developing silicosis. California employers are required to protect their employees from harmful silica dust by providing proper equipment and training. Stop dusty and deadly practices. Learn more at worksafewithsilica.org. This is a message from Cal OSHA.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. Pro Football Hall of Famer and urban peace pioneer Jim Brown believed in just that. So he founded the AmeriCAN Foundation for Social Change in 1988, focusing on at-risk and high-risk youth in underserved schools and juvenile detention facilities, as well as adult incarceration and reentry initiatives. The core of the AmeriCAN program is its 15-chapter life skills curriculum. Mastery of these skills allows individuals to meet their academic potential, conform their behavior to acceptable societal standards, and improve the quality of their lives by equipping them with what they need to confidently and successfully contribute to society. Today, the foundation is led by its president, Monique Brown, who has been actively involved in the organization for more than 25 years. The AmeriCAN Foundation continues its work in memory of its founder, actor, philanthropist, and NFL legend Jim Brown. To get involved or make a donation, please visit AmeriCANCommunity.partners. That's AmeriCANCommunity.partners. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Dr. James Lance Taylor got me thinking about a lot of different crazy things this morning, and perhaps, Dr. Taylor, you will grace us one day with your presence. We could do a whole deep dive on that Gary, Indiana convention and what it means, because the way you framed it as being such a pivotal moment, perhaps we don't talk about it enough. But I asked you about Meghan and Harry in Nigeria. She discovers she's Nigerian, 43%. Their Archwell Foundation makes a donation to flood relief and children's charities, and they visit Nigeria. To me, it's not just her playing in the royal family's face. Not only am I black from Lamert Park, I'm also Nigerian, and me and my husband are going to go there, invited by the military. But I think about if this was, ancient times, they'd probably both be getting bumped off for that.
Oh, you know it. You know it. Absolutely. And it's a fascinating, phenomena, as much as the whole royalty of Buckingham Palace stuff is relevant to black folk. And I think there is an investment in her, in Meghan Markle's, treatment, the whole idea about the baby being too dark, all of those kind of controversies with her sister-in-law, Kate, and everything. I took a 23andMe DNA test about 6 years ago, and I found out that I was 34% Nigerian in my DNA, and that my people came here in 1750 is when the DNA starts showing up on the map in this country. So there was a lot of Nigerian in my ancestry. And to be honest with you, it was just confirmatory, because I'm about the height of a typical Nigerian man, about the color of a typical Nigerian man, and probably have some of the negative attitudes of the typical Nigerian man sometimes. But I think, again, it's symbolic. It's not just America, it's all over the world. And Meghan can be an important site for dealing with reparations, right? Nigeria is one of the countries, along with Tobago and Jamaica and Haiti, who are demanding reparations from their colonial, motherlands. And Meghan's representation of that, the symbolism of that she's representing Nigeria, she's claiming Nigeria when we know England played a significant role in, mining and extracting and underdeveloping Nigeria and other parts of Africa. So there's a powerful symbolic moment in her taking this position, and she's saying, I'm choosing Africa over whatever this royalty idea means to you. I'm choosing Africa. And that's a powerful statement for, non-whites all over the world. Like 50 years ago, this would be, a Grace Kelly kind of thing, a big American international moment. But because she's not Anglo, as they would like her to be, even the Americans aren't, enamored with Meghan. She's kind of ours if we embrace her in the Black community, but they certainly don't. And the fact that she's found a home in Africa and now can identify her Nigerian ancestry specifically, and can even go further to find out her specific tribe with some of these DNA tests now that they have with Africans doing the scientific research that she made. She represents, I think, again, a powerful symbolic moment for Africa and Nigeria in making this claim, similar to the idea of the first Black American president.
I mean, and honestly, it's funny to me that in true African form, the Igbo and the Yoruba are fighting over who gets to give her an African name.
Yeah.
Oh, she must be Igbo. Oh, she must be Yoruba. Right, but I mean, right. I'm one of those people that watches like old films and all that. It would have been considered, a threat to the throne at one time to have a heir to the throne with a Black wife visiting Nigeria and being welcomed in that way. Oh, and yeah. I don't know how I don't get time to ask you about the Trump trial or, Israel or Ukraine. Blinken's over there trying to reassure Ukraine. You're going to have to come back is all. What do you want to leave us with? Dr. Taylor, you got a minute and a half. What do you want to send us off with?
Look to our students. Look at the leadership of the young people around the country. Even if you don't agree with their tactics or even, their philosophy, the content of their arguments, we as professors, we tell our young people, every mission statement of every university in America uses the word change and the world. They say change the world. Ours is change the world from here. So there's an encampment on our campus. Our students are now mobilized. Now there's a confrontation because graduation is Friday. And up to this point, there's been complete peace in Bay Area schools. If you think about that, LA is on fire, USC, UCLA. But up here, the normal protesting schools like Stanford, Berkeley, San Francisco State, they're quiet right now. And that to me is an odd thing. But that's what's happening. And but I think things might break up here sooner or later because the tensions are here like they're everywhere else. But I think we should commend our young people for rising up to the moment that has called them. They have been beckoned to this moment, and they're responding.
Okay, we got
to get in touch with me. It's Instagram, James Taylor 1699 on Instagram. James
okay,
Taylor 1699.
We got to leave it there. It's time for Tavis Smiley. Till tomorrow, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Jury selection continues today in New York City in the corruption trial of New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez. Yesterday, dozens of potential jurors were dismissed, and by the end of the day, not one had been selected to sit in on the trial that could last up to 2 months. The Democratic lawmaker and his wife were accused of accepting cash,